What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live. Sorry for the late start. Trying a different workflow with some of the graphics, and it slowed me down quite a bit. I'm gonna try and to fix it and make it more efficient again. But we gotta go straight into picks against the spreads, just because we're a little late. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. We'll talk about LaMarcus, Aldridge, Aaron Gordon, and Terry Stotts later on in this one. So let me make sure my camera and everything is set up good to go. All right, we're gonna jump straight into picks against the spread. I might have to update some of these graphics as we get to them because my workflow got kind of messed up and didn't really work like how I thought it would. I didn't even update the records. Completely forgot. Shoot. Yeah, today is scuffed. Do you want to pick the first two games I've started and then I can update the records? Do you want to do that, Eric? Okay, yeah, we're super scuffed today. Apologies for that. First game we got Charlotte versus, this should be against Sacramento. Like I said, everything is scuffed today. So we gotta adjust on the fly, basically, at this point. Are you? Yeah, just everything is messed up. Okay, there. Eric's good to go. All right, we're going to do the first two games because they've started. I am taking Charlotte with this one. I don't know the score, chat. Please don't cheat, but, I expect some of you will. Don't say the score in chat. I should know better than trying to switch everything up at the, at the last minute. But you got Charlotte, you got Sacramento. I'm going to take Charlotte. Big believer in Charlotte. I feel like I've had pretty good luck betting on them.
I'm just writing stuff down.
Yes, I will start updating the records right now.
Trevin's also picking Charlotte.
All right. Yeah, I just didn't want to update the record sheet because I did so bad, last, what's today, Monday? Last Thursday.
You didn't want to have to move me up ahead of you.
Oh, my goodness. Ugh, that's so gross. Yeah, yikes.
I'm going to take the Hornets as well.
All right, Eric's going Hornets. Let me know the other mods as we get to them because I will update this record sheet.
Reese took Kings.
All right.
I don't know if Westbrook is in here.
Jeez, that's the Pistons too. Phenomenal.
Trevin's going for that 8-0 day today to get above 500.
Yeah, they probably put him there. He had a good day on Thursday. All right, here we go. So chat, by the way, and I'll just say it after the fact. I just got to work on this graphic.
Oh, we got some breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Harry Giles is listed as questionable, not out for tomorrow's game.
Okay, might finally have another big.
CJ McCollum is not on the injury report.
Okay, so CJ will play tomorrow. Cool.
Yep.
CJ's back. Anything about Nurk?
No, but Chris Haynes had today that it's going to be another 2 weeks for Nurk.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, not sure what the story is there, but...
probably due to the calf, man. God, why does that always have to happen with Nurk? It's just frustrating. That's frustrating to say the least.
Is Tommy in here right now?
Why?
Because he got blocked by Casey Holdahl, it looks like.
Did he?
He couldn't read that out.
Do we have Chat's picks and Westbrook's picks, or is Westbrook?
Chat is 11-2 Hornets.
Okay,
and I do not see Westbrook in here.
Unfortunate.
I'm gonna
flip a coin for him.
I'm gonna message him.
All right. We started a lot later, so if that's the case, it's my fault, to be honest. Not his.
Reese Island.
Most likely. Let's move on and pick Washington and Milwaukee, which is the second game. This game's already tipped. Don't look at scoreboard. Chat, you don't need any extra help. Milwaukee's an 8.5-point favorite. I don't even know. I'll take Milwaukee.
It's hard to... All right, it looks like Beal and Westbrook are both playing. It's hard to look up injury stuff.
I know, yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna take Washington at home, getting points.
All right. Milwaukee's been playing better lately. I feel like going against them has hurt me in the past few days.
There's Westbrook.
All right, cool. Sorry we're going late, Westbrook. Sorry if that made things tough on you or something.
Trevin took the Bucks. The first game, Westbrook was Kings at Hornets, and the Hornets are 3.5-point favorites.
Be really clutch if those games were just all tied right now.
Westbrook's taking the Hornets, so Reese is on an island there. I almost joined him there, but... And yeah, Shams with the backup tweet that CJ is for sure back tomorrow.
Well, that's good. I assume he'll start. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. Sorry, I'm just finishing up this graphic. I have to update it regardless because it'll be hard to catch up. Yeah, Trevin. Dang, Reese had a tough day. He caught up to Trevin. He almost passed Trevin. Then he had a tough day last Thursday.
Reese is with me on Washington.
All right, yeah, let's go back to this. Reese is with you. Sorry, chat. Dude, my computer is slower than, insert adjective there. It's slower than...
Molasses.
It's slower than, I don't know, Chris Kaman. It's slower than Chris Kaman right now.
All right, let me...
Dude, I can't even do math properly. If Westbrook goes above 500 today, by the way, he'll be above 500 or at 500.
4, 5, 5. I think I have it as 5-6 Wizards right now.
All right.
Let me just see if anyone else.
We'll get on a roll here in a sec. I just got to finish this graphic for y'all.
Yep, 6-5 Wizards. Yep.
All right.
Bucks Wiz makes it 6-7. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna roll with that. So.
All right.
6. Won't be there in double. Yeah, we'll talk about all the a lot of Blazer related topics today. We'll talk about that in a minute here.
Yep. So who chat go for?
They went for the Wizards.
All right. Do we have Westbrook?
Although there was 2 late votes to make 15 that sent it 8-7 Bucks. I don't know what you want to roll.
I mean, we normally do 15, so yeah, I'm down to. Yeah.
All right, Chad is switching to the Bucks. 8-7.
Westbrook and Trevin have picks. I don't have my chat up yet.
Yeah. Westbrook and Trevin are both Milwaukee.
Oh, they're Milwaukee. All right.
Sorry, Belgian.
All right, so Reese and Eric are going with Washington. I now have the records. This is what the records were. No, this is updated. Okay, this updated, but my other graphics won't update. I don't understand, man. So this is our records updated. I had a bad day last Thursday. Eric passed me, gained 4 games on me. He was 3 games behind. Trevin had
name's wrong on there.
Yeah, I forgot. That's the one thing I forgot to flip. So let me do that right now. I hate flipping people in this because like you have to like remember the records and then like it's tough to make sure everything is like flipped perfectly. But all right. So is it updated?
There it goes. Yeah.
Yes, cool. All right, so that is what we're looking like. I had a tough day. Eric had a pretty good day at 7-5. Trevin went 8-4. Trevin's getting closer to 500. Westbrook's right there, so if he has a good day today, he will be above 500. Well, 4 people above 500. Started off struggling. Everybody's been doing pretty well lately. Other than me and Reese on Thursday. Reese was 2 games behind Trevin. That game's behind isn't right for Reese. It's actually 23. Apparently, I can't do math while stream. I cannot multitask like that, guys. There we go. So Reese is 23 games behind. He was only 2 games behind Trevin. Now he's 7. So Reese has been trying to get out of the cellar. It hasn't been working out for him. Hopefully, he's able to do that. Now I gotta make sure the upcoming graphics are updated, so just give me a second. I'm all mixed up on everything. And should honestly just stream my screen at this point so you guys can see me struggle. But here we go. We got Brooklyn versus New York up next. This is the Subway Series, so to say. Brooklyn is an 8.5-point favorite going into this one. I assume all 3 of the big 3 are playing. Is that the case?
Is Durant back? I don't think he is.
I'm just surprised the spread is high. If he's not back, even if he is back, I'm going to roll with the Knicks. I think they're going to be motivated because this is their crosstown rival. You know, Brooklyn owns New York City. That's kind of the narrative. I think the Knicks are going to play with a lot of motivation. And it's not like they're a bad team. They're 20-19, so an 8.5-point spread for Brooklyn. I'm going to take the Knicks.
Looking up the injury.
All right. I will make sure the other slides are
no,
updated.
Update today. Kevin Durant is expected to miss about 1 to 2 more weeks.
All right, good to know.
I don't see... Blake Griffin isn't ready to play yet, and Dinwiddie, of course, is out. It doesn't look like they have any other injuries right now.
Got you. Be interesting to see how Dinwiddie would fit on with like Harden and Durant, because he barely got a chance to play this year.
I'm going to take the Nets.
All right. Eric going with the home team, the Nets, with the big spread. Alfred Payton is questionable. Derrick Rose is out, says Reese. Trevin says Nets as well. So, Trevin, are you going to pick every game the opposite as me then? So that you can go... Well, there's 9 games, by the way. Or there's 8 games. You're going to go 9-0 if you go undefeated because double downs. Always gotta add one.
Trevin picked the same as you the first 2 games, so.
Yeah, so good luck with that. I don't know how that's possible, Trevin. Yeah, just let me know the picks when they roll in. I still gotta update future slides.
Westbrook is going Knicks with you.
All right, shout out my guy.
He's been with you, everyone. Chat is 8-7
Let's
Knicks.
go 8. Let's go 9-0. He knows what's up.
Reese's vote was.
So chat's for the Knicks as well. Chat knows what's up too.
I don't see Reese's vote. He's going Knicks.
He's going next.
Knicks.
All right. So Eric and Trevin are going for the Nets. Everybody else is going for the Knicks, the road team. Let's move on to game number 4, which is going to be Detroit versus San Antonio. The Spurs at 19-16 go on the road to face the Pistons. Only are favored by 2 points. A little surprising there. I'll wait for the injury updates before making my picks. My one pick on this game. I don't know why I pluralized that.
Wonder if maybe DeRozan's not playing or something. Well, we know Aldridge is out.
Yes. He's been out, and they've still been playing good basketball, though. He's missed a lot of action.
He's missed most of the season, yeah. DeMar DeRozan, for personal reasons, remains out Monday.
Oh, this is a really tough spread then, honestly.
I don't see, other than Aldridge and Bates Diop, there's no other injury restrictions for the Spurs, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'll make my pick last while I make sure to get the rest of this updated properly. Oh, that updated on its own. Cool.
Trevin took the Pistons. I'm also taking the Pistons.
All right. Trevin, Eric, Pistons. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, basically what I was trying to do today, I was trying to do it when I made the graphic and saved it. I automatically updated it in my software, and for whatever reason, it wasn't doing that, and I was not prepared for that. So I am making sure everything is updating right now.
Chat went 8-7 Spurs.
All right, I'll be plugging those in a second. Just want to get the rest of this updated, and now it is. Cool. All right, so you said you and Trevin went for who?
We went Pistons. Chat and Westbrook went Spurs. And I don't see a vote for Reese yet.
Oh, Trevin went Pistons. I put Reese's Pistons.
Reese is going Spurs with you guys. Or with the other 3. You haven't picked yet, I guess.
Yeah, I'll go Pistons. I'll make it a clean split vote. I have no preference either way, so I'll make it a split vote. There we go. Me, Eric, Trevin going Pistons, Reese, Westbrook, and Chat going with the Spurs. Let's move on to game number 5. You got the Clippers taking on the Mavericks. The Clippers are 1.5-point favorites. This is actually in Dallas, by the way. This is not in Los Angeles. I glitched that and just didn't fix it. But honestly, home and road doesn't even matter.
Oh, there's... Texas has a decent amount of fans right now.
True. True, and this game is being played in Texas, so for what it's worth.
Ray says James Johnson is out for the Mavericks, if that changes anyone's.
Oh, yeah, definitely going Clippers now. The Mavs are a contender with James Johnson, to be honest. There, Dallas. Boom. I'm
just going to make sure the big 2 for LA are playing.
Yeah, see, that's important. That's tough with teams that always have guys out. You know, like Paul George, Kawhi, it seems like at least half the time one of those guys is out. Kawhi called out their inconsistency. I think they lost by 20 to New Orleans last night.
I think Beverly's probably out for this game.
Do you notice how Kawhi didn't say, it's hard to beat, it's hard to win, and, nobody could expect the Pelicans to lay over, so it happens? No, he's like, we're playing too inconsistent right now. We need to play better. Makes you think.
Yeah, I don't see any injury stuff.
All right, I'm going to take the Clippers.
I'm also going to take the Clippers. This is my first road team I've taken today.
All right. 10-5 Clips for chat. Westbrook going Clips.
Just ignore the records, Connor. Clippers are not 15-21. I think the Mavericks are 20-17 or something.
Oh my goodness, man. I glitched this graphic. I was all over the place today. If you guys tell me the records, I could update it in 10 seconds, honestly.
It is...
Actually, I have the records right here.
Yeah, Mavericks 20-17, Clippers 25-15.
All right, and 20-17.
Hmm. 10-5 Clips for chats. Westbrook also going Clips.
See, it's like when I'm streaming and I save the graphic, it updates it automatically. For whatever reason, when I did that today, it didn't update it automatically. I don't know. Yeah, I'm so confused about that. Reese going Clippers.
That's a clean sweep.
All right, clean sweep for the Clips in this one. Let's move on to game number 6. Where you got Denver versus Indiana for the... dude, did I even update these records? No, I didn't.
Pacers are 17-20. Nuggets are 22-16.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I've thought about putting the records against the spread instead. I think that would be more interesting to have up there.
Yeah. It'd
be a little harder to do, but yeah, the Nuggets are tied with us. The Pacers finally have Karis LeVert back. It's going to be interesting to see how much better they are with Karis LeVert. Denver is a 4.5-point spread. I'm going to take Indiana. Just assuming the Karis LeVert effect is a positive one. They had a good outing against the Suns. They beat the Suns. I think that was that was 2 days ago. So this is the second time we've had Indiana versus Denver this month. I know that because the colorways are pretty much exactly the same. Westbrook's going Nuggets.
I'm actually going to go Nuggets too. Just have a feeling they're going to play well tonight.
Trevin's going Pacers. Trevin knows what's up. This is definitely not chat's double down, says Trevin.
Reese went Nuggets. I'm kind of hoping chat goes Pacers then, because
split votes are always fun.
We've had I'm against chat several games today, so have a chance to actually catch up if things go my way.
Yeah. By the way, the bottom bar is not updated for what it's worth, but our names are there, so kind of have to have it.
What's up, Eric Olson?
Eight 7 Nuggets for chat. Dang, man. Unfortunate. So me and Trevin alone with the Pacers. Everybody else going Nuggets. Let's move into game number 7. This is Phoenix versus Memphis. Phoenix is a 7-point favorite. I'm going to wait to make my pick last.
7 points. I don't know if you saw, but Jaren Jackson's going to be out several more weeks still.
Several more weeks? That's a shame, man.
Yeah. Oh, 7 points. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Suns.
All right.
Westbrook is going Suns.
Looks like Chat's going to go Suns.
Reese is going Grizzlies.
Yeah, Chat is definitely Suns. Let's get the final vote total on that, but Chat is definitely Suns. Reese is going with Memphis. Trevin is going with the Suns. According to an inside source, Memphis always plays Phoenix tough, so I'm going to go with the Grizzlies. I watched a little bit of the Valley podcast, like post-game show a couple nights ago, and they were talking about how Memphis always plays them tough. So 7-point spread, I'll take Memphis.
Yeah. That way you can blame them if they don't.
Exactly.
11-4 Suns.
11-4 Suns for Chet. All right, let's move on to game number 8. You got Golden State versus the Lakers. The records
Lakers
are not updated.
23,
Bruh, normally I'm on top of this,
Fire
guys.
Vogel,
Today, yeah.
Trade LeBron.
Oh my goodness. Today I'm not fully on top of it. But normally I am, so allow me to have an off day, man. This would take Connor like 5 days to just figure out how to do this properly, man.
He says, damn, Tori, did you prepare for this at all?
Man. Yeah, I literally... Some days I do these graphics for as long as as the stream takes. Like, it's yeah, I mean, I tried to streamline the process, but I mean, it's not... Dude, why can't I'm like dyslexic reading these records. I'm putting the Lakers I've mixed up the records twice. I literally put the Lakers record for the Warriors on this graphic, and then I was like, wait, that's not right. Deleted it, then put the Lakers record for the Warriors again. I'm tripping. There you go. It's updated for you guys. 1.5 point spread is correct, though. I got the spreads correct. At least I got the spreads correct. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because you guys know, the Lakers aren't 11-25.
I am taking the Lakers.
All right. Wait, are the Lakers really 25-19? They're 25-13. Bro, see, I told you. I'm just I can't function today, apparently. This is what I get for...
Reese is taking the Lakers as well.
All right.
Reese
is taking the Lakers. I'm taking the Warriors.
Before you make your vote, though, just want to let everyone know Jared Dudley has an MCL sprain, is out several weeks, so...
And that's why I'm going Warriors.
Yeah. Just in case. The comments were hilarious. Like, when was he actually in a game to get injured? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Should I be going Warriors? Oh my goodness. I mean, the Lakers without AD have not played well.
Yeah.
The Warriors played pretty good last night. They are on a second night of a back-to-back, but they are at home. Because they're on the second night of a back-to-back, I'm going to change the pick.
Chat's going Warriors, though.
Okay, I'll roll with Chat, actually.
I'll okay. Chat. You guys all heard that.
What's up, Chat? No, I just wanted to...
all right.
To trigger you for 3 seconds.
You know what?
What's up?
I have one thing to say to that, Tori.
What?
Lakers are my double down, so I'm going to gain 2 games on you right there. Bam.
Yeah, and it still won't make up for all the other ones. Westbrook's pick is what?
He picked Lakers.
Okay. So, me and Chat going Warriors. Let's look at all the games real quick so you guys can decide your double down. Do you have Chat's double down?
Chat looks like it'll be the first game, the Hornets.
I'm going to say right now, these 2 games do not double down on since they started a while ago. Okay. This game is just started probably 4 minutes ago. I'm not going to double down on that one either. I don't know which one I want to double down on.
If we go
I'm going to double down on the Clippers.
Okay. If we go by votes, it was the Hornets, but if you say not to do that one...
Oh, well, they like, that was like, for them, that was a while ago. You know, their double down was based on how many people voted for it. So Hornets is fine for them.
Okay.
Because they basically made that double down pick at like 4:15.
Yeah. Westbrook, was that a vote for the Lakers as your double down? If I'm reading that correctly.
Oh, yeah, you had the Lakers. Westbrook has the Lakers. I thought that logo might be the Lakers, dang. Is yours the Lakers? Nope, yours was the Timberwolves. That wasn't our game, that was... Did you win that double down? You did win that double down, didn't you?
Yeah, that was my island one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were alone on an island. And it paid off. It was a good island. Dude, why can't I find the logo? There we go. Okay, so you have the Lakers. Reese and Trevin. Reese is doubling down on the Lakers. Jeez, man.
I think Trevin said he was going to go Hornets. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
I
fine, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you got it, Trevin. Westbrook is Suns.
Oh, the Knicks-Nets game hasn't started yet, by the way. I'm tripping on that one. That starts at 5. It's also an ESPN game, so it's going to be like 15 minutes afterwards anyway. Who was Suns? Nobody was Suns.
Westbrook.
I thought you said Westbrook went Lakers.
Well, he said, I'm going La Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or something, and I thought that meant Lakers, but he said no. I don't know what that means.
Oh my god, are you kidding me, Westbrook? Hold on.
I just asked him if that was what it meant. I didn't say for sure that he was.
So, yeah, let me just, yeah. There we go. Okay. He went with the Suns.
Yep.
Okay. Just had to fix something. Just for that comment specifically.
He said it was before, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, is that less brick or brick?
It's least brick. Least brick. Least brick. That's what it is. Least brick.
Least brick.
Anyway, that is... Brick. I'm probably going to forget it for next stream, so... I don't care if I do. So that is picks against the spread. Right now, you do have 2 games underway. It's Charlotte, since, we've made the picks already. The Kings are beating the Hornets 47-43 right now. That's looking good for Reese. The Bucks are beating the Wizards 49-36. It's looking good for me. Lustbrick, Trevin in chat. And then the Knicks Nets tip off at 5 p.m. So anyway, let's get into the meat of the show. After that scuffed picks against the spread segment, you got a lot of Blazer news today, right? Do you want to talk about CJ first? That's kind of
let's talk about CJ.
All right, so I don't know if you need a minutes cap for him. I don't know, conditioning wise, he may be a little rough, so maybe he only plays 30 minutes or so. But knowing the way this team plays its guards, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays 35 minutes tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see, but. I mean, gives them a scoring punch. Doesn't help their defense though. It'll just be nice to see him back out there on the court. I'm excited for tomorrow's game just to see CJ back out there on the court to see if he, picks back up where he left off. He was playing great, or if he's a little rusty. It's kind of what we needed after that loss to the Timberwolves and how just depressing that was. Kind of needed something like this. Sucks that Nurkic is out 2 weeks. Don't know if that's. I don't think that's due to the wrist, dude. I think that's due to his calf, which is just frustrating as hell. How does this keep happening?
I don't know why he's out there like working out before the game though. If he has got a calf injury, why isn't he resting it?
So who reported 2 weeks?
Chris Haynes and all Nurk said it too. Or it was kind of vague. It said like within 2 weeks or something, but like I don't know. But why does every player get a calf strain? I don't know.
Yeah. So Harry Giles could be back. CJ would be back. So rotation-wise, it's going to be interesting if CJ and Giles are back. You know, Giles, I assume, gets the backup minutes. We need some size. Like, he probably should get the backup minutes behind Cantor. Melo's still the backup 4. It'll be interesting. Okay, tomorrow could come down to, Eric? Tomorrow could be the first sign of if Nasir Little will get minutes over Rodney Hood.
Yep.
Because if you have Dame, CJ, Rocco, Derrick Jones Jr., Cantor, and CJ staggered with Dame, CJ's the backup point guard, right? Otherwise, it's like Simons, you know, but that would leave even less minutes for Trent and whatnot. If they do what they did, CJ's the backup point guard. So then off the bench, you have Trent at the 2, you have Melo at the 4, Giles at the 5. Who's the backup 3? It's going to be Hood or Little. You don't have enough minutes for both.
I'm guessing Giles wouldn't play even if he's healthy.
You're guessing they just go small and play both Hood and...
Yeah, well, so we'll know at the 6-minute mark or so because that's when Jones and Covington have gone out the last few games, and Melo and Nas always come in together there at that first substitution. So we'll know right away if those two guys are the substitution. But then it might be Hood too, because if we're staggering CJ and he comes back in with the second unit, so it might be all 3 of those guys coming in right there.
Yeah.
But then it'll be interesting. Then you just have to wait for the second quarter to start to see who stays out there and who doesn't. But I'd love if it started becoming more of a who's playing better type thing. Like give the minutes to who earns it versus just this is my rotation. This person goes out at this time and Dame plays the whole 12 minutes of the first quarter and Cantor plays 11 minutes. And, you know, like I don't want set rotations. I think we're deep enough to where you leave the players in and you give the most minutes to the players who are having the best games.
Well, here's the thing. Hood's been playing a little bit at the backup 2.
Mm-hmm.
So those minutes are going to be gone.
Yeah. It could cut Simons out too.
Yeah, even if it cuts Simons out, because Simons has been like the backup point guard. He hasn't been playing really at the 2 at all lately. He's just been playing when Dame's off the floor. So at the 2, you've had Trent, and then you've had Hood basically playing the backup minutes there. So those minutes are going to be gone, you know, because Dame and CJ, if they're playing 35, 36 minutes a game at both backup guard spots, you only have 24 to 26 minutes a game for Trent. And you best believe Trent's probably going to play all those minutes.
That's actually what'll happen. I forgot Trent coming off the bench now. So at the 5 or 6 minute mark of the first quarter, you'll see Trent, Melo, and Little all enter the game. In my opinion. If he's going to stay the same, if he's going to change it, you'll see Hood instead of Little right there.
It's just the thing is when Nurkic is back, you know, Nurkic and Cat are going to be the centers. Like you're going to see soon, it's going to be a Hood versus Little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on obviously what happens around the trade deadline and buyout market and whatnot. But I think at this point, you got to give the minutes to Little over Hood. I mean, Hood right now, like you were talking about, he needs time to ramp up. It's starting to become a thing where it's like, I don't think it's really going to happen, man. I mean, the dude's shooting 28.8% from 3, 37% from the field. But let's just look at the month of March to see if it's better. I'll pull up his monthly splits here. In the month of March, he's shooting
from the All-Star.
Yeah, but just in 6 games, he's shooting 42% from the field, 27% from 3. And in the month of February, he's shooting 38% from the field and 32% from 3. So it's not like it's getting better. His true shooting percentage is his highest in the month of March. It's at 52%. In February, it was 45. In January, it was 40. So he's scoring better inside the arc. But 3-point shooting-wise, he's still shooting 27%. Like, there's been no improvement with his outside shot. And as a 28% 3-point shooter, he's not a good enough, like, isolation inside the arc scorer right now to justify him not really providing anything defensively or in terms of playmaking or, he's not a good rebounder. So, yeah, Little deserves the minutes. You know, Little struggled with his shot lately. It hasn't looked bad. It's just he's missed some shots. He's still shooting 40% from three on the season. He's at an even 40%, and he's shooting 48% from the field, which includes 56% inside the arc.
It does look a little different to me. It looks like he's either rushing it or he's got a little bit of a hitch in it.
His hand placement looks a little weird.
It doesn't look as smooth as it did a couple weeks ago. I think it's easy to correct, but that's one thing that's really hard. You see this with Lonzo Ball too. Like when you change your shooting stroke drastically, like in the middle of a season or like in the middle of your NBA career, you do have times where you kind of default back to the old style. So hopefully, it's usually like a tired thing. So like when you're tired, your muscles like kind of relapse back to what's comfortable for them. So hopefully he can get over that and go back to where he's shooting. God, Trevin posted some videos of a three he hit, I think against Milwaukee versus a three he took in one of our last couple games against Minnesota, and it looked a lot different.
Yeah. I mean, just let him work through it and fix it. I mean, I still have more confidence in his shot than Rodney Hood's, no matter what he's doing. Yeah. You know, that's the thing, which is crazy to think about considering where they were at the start of last season. Because Rodney Hood was shooting like 50% from three, and Nasir Little's shot looked absolutely broken and weird. So the thing is, every other intangible, I give the edge to Little. Rebounding, defensively, slashing wise, finishing ability, hustle. Like, Little has the advantage in so much that like Hood has to be scoring at a much better clip to justify him playing over Little, and he's not. And the thing is, if it's tied, I'd rather play Little because he's only going to get better. You know, he's still very, very young and inexperienced. So if it's like, you know, people talk about, oh, it's nice to have a vet in there. But if like their production is even, I'd rather play the young guy because that guy's the future. Right? So it'll be interesting to see what the rotation looks like tomorrow. If Giles is healthy, it'll be interesting to see if he plays. Overall, it's good to have CJ back though, and
sure.
Dame won't have to carry as much of the load. It'll be interesting to see if the defense is worse with CJ back or what. It's pretty bad to begin with, so I don't think it'll be worse, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So let's talk about.
Well, since you just mentioned the defense, maybe we should talk about the ownership taking notice.
Yeah. So ownership is reportedly taking notice of the fact that Terry Stotts can't coach defense. I mean, that's not the way it was worded, but that's basically what it is. Eric could probably give a better summary than me, though. He was paying more attention to that today. I was kind of busy.
Did you know CJ's back, was it?
Oh, did somebody just come in chat and say that?
They tagged me, but okay. So the rumor is from Jason Quick that the ownership in Seattle is taking notice of the bad defense, and it's become a topic of discussion. So to me, I was stoked when I saw this because I just want them to question why. And if they don't feel like it's a problem or they like the answer, okay, maybe I can live with that. But like, there's no reason why. I just posted the tweet before we went on the air that we talked about this in one of the post-game shows. Is Minnesota is 25th in defensive rating with, pretty below average personnel defensively. They have a couple of okay defending wings, I guess, and Rubio's all right on defense, but like Cat and D'Angelo Russell aren't any better defenders than anyone we have, right? Mm-hmm. So they're 25th. They are the same distance away from passing Indiana at 12th best defense, as the Blazers are of passing Minnesota at 25th. So they are much closer to being a top 12 defense than we are to even being as good as Minnesota on defense. And that is just absolutely inexcusable and pathetic. And you cannot excuse that with personnel. You just can't. And if you do, it's just lazy. It just doesn't apply, in my opinion, to be this bad. I mean, if you want to talk about Like maybe we're in the low 20s, and if we're healthy, we could maybe be a 15th or 16th versus 21st or 22nd or something with the injuries. I can listen to that argument, but to be this far away from even being as good a defense as a bad defensive team is just awful. And we're also the third worst defense of all time since they started counting defensive ratings.
Yeah, we're just flat out horrible. Flat out horrible, right? It's one thing to say, oh, well, this personnel, you're going to have a bad defense. Okay, we're not bad. We're horrible.
Yeah.
We're like downright disgustingly bad defensively.
Yep.
I mean, like, sometimes I feel like there's teams in college that could do a better job defending NBA teams than us. Like, my goodness, sure, they might only put 50 points on the board, but like our defense is that bad. It's comical how bad our defense is.
And I don't understand how you're that bad with you have two really good defensive wings in your starting lineup. So even if the other three players in your starting lineup are complete crap on defense, like there's no reason you can't at least be okay with having two switchable wings that can guard pretty much 1 through 5. It's ridiculous. And just for point of reference, the two teams that are worst in the history of the NBA are the Kings this year. So we actually have one team worse than us this year, but they've been awful on defense too. But I mean, that's another team that's horribly coached, and they have decent defensive personnel, I think, in my opinion. But the only other team that's been worse than us in the history of the NBA is the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2018-19, and that was the year after LeBron left to LA, and they were a complete joke that year. So I think they were either the worst record or one of the worst records, right? So yep, those are the only two teams in the history of the NBA worse than this defense this year.
Yeah, you can't sit here and tell me we should be the third worst defense in NBA history.
Yeah.
Because of personnel. Now, obviously, offenses have gotten better and better, so you do have to take that into account.
Yeah.
But
that's why I always bring this up too when you have people that mention like Java was saying the other day, like,
oh, don't give that guy airtime.
Derrick Rose is the reason the Bulls weren't good on defense in 2011. He didn't deserve MVP or whatever. It's like, well, they had the top-ranked defense even with him. So, like, what are you trying to say? And
yeah. So I never
look at when he was off the floor. They had the best defense of all time, and when he was on the floor,
what is this argument? What is this argument, and why are we talking about it?
I'm just using it to explain why sometimes on-off stats, and because like if you took any player individually that's really good on offense, say Damian Lillard, and you looked at only when he's on the court, yes, it will. If you compare that to every team in the history of NBA, you'd be like, wow, Dame's the greatest offensive player of all time because his team has this rating. But you could do that with like half the league and show a lineup where they're one of the best lineups in the history of the NBA. So yeah, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but the overall premise is there is no reason why we should even be in the conversation with those two teams in terms of how bad our defense is.
Well, yeah. Okay. I just honestly, no offense, you lost me a little bit there. Winding, like, premise the same. We're trash and we shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right? And Terry Stotts needs to do a better job, and ownership is noticing that, it sounds like. Right? So that's a good thing. Like, yep. I'm happy to see that, too. I just hope it's not somewhere like, oh, well, he needs to coach defense better. Like, let's make him hire a defensive assistant. No, he doesn't want to. And that should be a fault of his. But fire him.
The question has to become, why haven't they addressed that?
I don't know.
They bring in someone right now to...
Because last year, you look at the personnel, and the personnel wasn't good. So it's like, okay, well, let's get him the personnel. And I guarantee you, like, ownership and Olshey and Stotts all had this conversation, and Stotts was probably blaming his personnel, saying, we need some wing defenders. Guess what? They went out there and got Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr. They got 2 wing defenders, and our defense is no better. So now I think it's at the point where ownership is like, oh, so we went out, and got him the types of players he said he needed to coach a better defense, and it hasn't improved at all when he said that was the reason we sucked last year, and now we suck this year, we're even worse. Maybe it's not a problem with the personnel. I think that is kind of what the ownership is thinking right now.
And now it's the excuses are that we only have one player that's above 6'8", and mine and Tori mentioned this earlier before we came on the air too. Our response to that is, then why isn't our 3-point defense better? If we have all small guys, we should be dominant on the perimeter, right?
Yeah, and struggling inside.
If we struggled and like opposing centers were just dunking all over our small guys and we could not protect the rim at all, that would be one thing, right? But is that really what's happening? Like, are we really that horrible?
Well, you know what's ridiculous with these people is, unless we have a perfect roster, they will point out any flaw with the roster to excuse us having the third worst defense in NBA history, right? Last year, no wing defenders, but we had Zach and Nurkic, before we got those guys back, it was, oh, well, we don't have Zach and Nurk. We get Zach and Nurkic back, oh, we don't have wing defenders. Okay, this year, start of season, we have wing defenders. Oh, well, they just need time to gel. Then Nurkic and CJ gets hurt. Oh, well, it's injuries, right? And then Giles gets hurt, and now it's, oh, well, it's injuries, and we only have one player above 6'8". But watch, Giles comes back, Nurkic and CJ comes back, and we struggle. Oh, well, Nurkic and CJ just need to get back into the fold. Or it'll be, oh, well, Dame and CJ just can't coexist defensively, and that's why our defense sucks. You need to trade CJ McCollum so you can start Gary Trent Jr. at the 2 so we can have a good defense, despite the fact that Gary Trent Jr. has been starting at the 2 and we've been trash. It's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that people can find that they'll latch on to make an excuse for the coaching a team that is the 29th worst defense in the NBA right now and further away from Minnesota than Minnesota is to being the 12th best. There's excuses can't fly for this. As you said, and I agree with this, if they were the 21st, 22nd ranked defense, sure, all right, I'm willing to listen to those arguments, right? Those could be justified reasons for us being 21st and 22nd instead of maybe average or so. Sure, not 29th. We are so far from average or so far from even being 20th or 21st that it's more than just the people we have on the court. But here's the thing. It's like when we had Nurkic and CJ, we still sucked on defense, right? Oh, CJ and Dame in the problem. CJ gets hurt. Like, sure, we lose Nurkic, but, you got Trent starting, right? I thought it was a Dame and CJ problem. It's always going to be something. And once this roster is healthy, it's still going to be something, or they finally improve, because they're out of excuses. Stotts has enough pressure on him that he actually starts coaching some damn defense. But it sounds like, based on Dame, it sounds like apparently 85% of their practices are defense. Apparently they watch a ton of film on defense and things get pointed out. Gary Trent Jr. after the game yesterday says, we're going to watch some film and improve our mistakes. But we've been hearing this all season long and they haven't improved at all, right? They go into the All-Star break saying, oh, well, second half of the season we need to be in the top half of the league. That's what Stotts said. And then Robert Covington went up that and said, we should be top 10 the second half of the season. Guess what? 3 games in, 2 against the worst team in the league, they've been last.
Dead last.
So, I wonder if ownership is looking at that, like them saying that, and then coming out, you play the Suns, which is a good team, and then the Timberwolves twice, who are missing their second and third best offensive players.
And they put up a ton of points on our weak-ass defense.
But, Alfred Camino says, Dan Marang told Chad Doing for the past 9 years has been a personnel issue. The past 9 years, right? And when Terry Stotts coached his last 2 stops before the Blazers, right? They weren't good rosters, but guess what? In all 4 of his coaching tenures before getting to Portland, they were bottom 10 as well. The Bucks and the Hawks, right? And then he gets to Portland, they've been bottom 10 almost every single year. It seems like, at least since Aldridge left. But Terry Stotts is just the most cursed coach in history, despite having Damian Lillard. It's just always personnel. Dan Marang is the worst. His takes are trash, and he just sits back here and says, yeah, the personnel sucks, the personnel sucks, the personnel sucks. Guess what? You bring in Aaron Gordon, it's not going to fix anything. They brought in Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr., and it didn't make a difference. So how the hell is bringing in Aaron Gordon going to make a difference? That's that dude's favorite player. Sorry, I'm getting into rant mode, but I want to end with this. This was tweeted out by Thomas, who's a great follow, by the way. I recommend you guys follow him. His Twitter is at Dawshiznell. I retweeted this tweet, so you could easily go find it. Okay, 5-step process that repeats itself, Eric.
Yep.
Step 1.
I like this tweet.
Blazers media. We need a new player. Step 2. We bring in said player. Derrick Jones Jr. or Rocco. Step 3. Blazers media says, great signing or trade. No excuses now. Step 4, the player doesn't fix the problems. Step 5, Blazers media, we don't have good personnel. We need a new player. Repeat the cycle for every roster change in the Dame era. Great tweet, 100% on point. And then he posted clips, like screenshots of, articles that back that up. That is the cycle that those guys think on, right? We need a new player. We get said player. They love it and say, okay, no more excuses. That player doesn't fix the problems. And then they blame the players again, instead of holding the coach accountable. It's much easier to hate on Neil Olshey than Terry Stotts. That's what I've discovered.
But this is why, you say, okay, so let's say, for example, the pick and roll, right? We have to run pick and roll, right? We can't do anything else. You have to run pick and roll with Dame, because he is incapable of doing anything other than running pick and roll, right? Does that mean the other 3 players have to just stand in the corner and just stand there and not do anything? Does that mean they can't cut to the basket? Does that mean they can't, do some sort of off-ball action or whatever? And you bring that up and they're like, well, we don't have a person in the short roll that can make a pass, so what does it matter? It's just so, everything is excused, and they never have an answer for, what you're actually trying to say. And, yeah.
Derrick Jones Jr. played in the short roll last year in Miami and did a decent job of it. Shout out to Ty Forshee for that info, and I've seen some clips of it, watched some Derrick Jones Jr. highlights. He's good in the short roll at making plays.
Tori,
we just haven't seen it.
I have to, so Trailblazer, I don't know if he's in chat right now, or what his username is on here. Say what's up if you are. But he sent me a video on this coach who breaks down how the Pistons in 2017 hard hedged. They used a lot of hard hedges to improve their defense, and it worked a lot. And then he went in depth on the teams that tried to do something about it and what they did and what was effective and what wasn't. And a lot of it was slipping the picks, which I mentioned on one of your posts after the game yesterday. You know what they showed a team doing several times, and it led to a wide open shot from the free throw line for this player every time?
What?
Carmelo Anthony on the Oklahoma City Thunder. He showed 5 straight plays of them just slipping Carmelo on a pick and him being wide open for a free throw line 15-foot shot. And problem solved. You get rid of the trapping situation, that problem. You get rid of the having to force Melo shots problem. You get, if Melo's guarded there, we've seen now he is a capable passer right there. If they stop bringing the guy up to hedge hard because Melo's hitting shots, then Dame doesn't get double teamed. It's not complicated, but we just have this thing oh, it'll be fine. We'll eventually just it'll work itself out and we'll be fine. We don't work on it or do anything better.
So instead, to get Melo mid-range shots, we just post him up and he fades away with a hand in his face, and then against on the pick and roll, we just let Dame get trapped and have no answer for it. Mm-hmm. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. I'm still just frustrated about last night. And if you guys didn't catch the post-game show, I was just ranting the whole time. But this team is coached so silly, in my opinion. The way this team is coached is just so ridiculous. Some of the things we do out on the court and some of the things we don't have an answer for is just so beyond ridiculous. And I've pointed them out time and time and time again, and you got all these people out there that just want to say, well, he has to do that, or that it's fine that he does that, or it's fine that we don't do this, but it's mostly we can't, personnel. It's a BS excuse, right? Because going into the season, what did people say? Oh, well, Olshey had a really good offseason. No more excuses. We're going to finally hold Stotts accountable. You heard that from Chad Dewey. You heard that from a bunch of guys, right?
Oh, he's starting to hold him accountable again, but yeah. That was after he combated all that, yeah.
It's we get help. These people don't want to. These people, there's so many people out there that it's so hard for them to be critical of Terry Stotts or objective about how this team is coached. And it's not it's an emotional thing for them. And that's what frustrates me. It's people are so biased towards Stotts, and that's what it is. There's a lot of people out there that are extremely biased towards Stotts that they either can't see what's going on or they don't want to. I think it's actually more the second than the first. right? And those are the people that say ball movement doesn't matter, or Dame likes contested shots more than open ones, because they don't want to be critical of the coach. So they'll come up with anything they can to justify the way we play. Dame wouldn't want to play up the ball. He wants to shoot with two defenders in his face, or stuff like that. People will say Rocco shoots better if he's almost being blocked than if he's wide open. It's stuff like that. So shooting contested shots is a good thing. Since when is shooting contested shots better than shooting open shots? But people really come with that narrative to excuse the way this team is coached, because they don't want to be objective or critical of the way this team is coached. And that's what's frustrating for me.
Yep. And the reason for that, I think, is, Olshey is not a likable guy. The way he treats people and stuff sometimes, or the way he gets kind of snippy. But we've seen Stotts do that too at times, and that's why people who ask him tough questions do have kind of a weird relationship with him. Like, you can see him cringe sometimes when Dwight or Jason are next up on the question thing, and that's why a lot of media doesn't ask him tough questions either, throw up softball questions, because they don't want the relationship to turn like it is with Olshey, because he doesn't do a lot of media stuff or anything like that. So, like, I get from like a personal point of view, if you're a media covering the team, that Stotts is a lot more accessible and, for the most part, a nicer person, at least the public perception of him. And then you have the rumors about how, like, Olshey has kind of controlled some of the media and has gotten guys fired out of jobs or whatever. But yeah, so it just seems like it's pettiness or whatever, and you just want to blame so badly, make Olshey out as the bad guy, that you kind of over project how good Stotts is, in my opinion.
Yep. Like I've always said, people would rather blame the guy who comes across as a car salesman than the nice old guy, which is basically how people view Stotts and Olshey. If we were a big market, though, if this was taking place in New York, the media would be crucifying Terry Stotts for the way this team plays basketball. Like, absolutely crucifying. Stotts would probably resign. He would probably resign, given how the media would just be crucifying him.
Well,
but, like, the media there and fan base, sure. Yeah, and the Knicks have sucked and whatnot. And I'm just saying, in a big market, the fan base would be much more upset with the coaching, because it's like, okay, we should be winning championships or thinking championships, and we have we have Damian Lillard, and we have this great roster, and we're sitting here playing the 29th worst defense and just playing like trash, and our offense is extremely elementary. They don't care. They wouldn't care that Stotts is nice. They would hold him accountable. But in Portland, for whatever reason, maybe it's the fact that we only have one major team out of the like major top four sports. Soccer might replace hockey at this point. So I guess we'd have two of them. But regardless, like, the Trailblazers are our team. We don't have a NFL team. We don't have an MLB team. We don't have an NHL team, right? So the Blazers are our team. Like, it's almost like a lot of the fan base has like a soccer mom mentality that you wouldn't see in big markets or in a lot of other fan bases. And the soccer mom mentality is, Stotts is a nice guy, and Olshey's mean. So, and it's just, they think about things emotionally instead of objectively, and it always turns out to, Olshey sucks, and there's nothing Stotts can do, and that's basically how a lot of people think.
Tilly has a good question. He said, or here, I don't know. They have a good question. Do you all think these media personnel that recycle the same narrative, do y'all think it's their opinions or just what the network makes them say so fans don't get sour on the team or coach? In my opinion, they might have to say certain things or sugarcoat things to be nice and for that regard, but like arguing with someone on Twitter like the way they do, and a lot of these people do, there's no way if they were just doing it because they were being told, they wouldn't treat people this way on social media and stuff like that. So I don't buy that they're so like into their role as being the nice person and never talking bad that they're this willing to go to lengths to argue with people for hours on social media about it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd still be down to have Chad Doing as a guest, and I would ask him all this stuff. Mm-hmm. we'd have this conversation like this and speak our minds, like, and see how they contort themselves into knots. Because that's, somebody said that in the comment section. That's what they do. They contort themselves in knots in any way to excuse the way this team is coached. I just don't see how you can see the way this offense plays, which looks like it's straight out of an open gym, and then see the defense, which is just historically bad, and just think the coach is fine.
Yep.
Because even for the worst roster in the league, the way we play basketball is bad. For the worst roster in the league, it's bad, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you see the Timberwolves, if they're running offense like this, and defensively they are, which they're not, but defensively they're the third worst defense in history, that's bad even for the worst team in the league, man. But we got a great roster, so it's... God.
But they fire their coach and bring in someone else, so they weren't happy with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it looks like they're improving under their new coach and stuff.
Imagine that.
Trevin says there's a huge difference between Lamar Hurd and Danny Meringue. I will say this. It does seem like when Lamar is critical, it's always like he kind of hesitates before he says it, and he like has to carefully word it. Like this isn't like the greatest coverage on this play, instead of just being like, no, this is a blown assignment by this guy, and this guy needs to do this or whatever. Like, so yeah, I think he wants to say bad things, and he does sometimes. So
I think he might be thinking a lot of things we're thinking when we see this stuff. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I can't speak for what he's thinking, but he can't do that. But let me just say this. I'm starting to feel like there's a really good chance Stotts isn't back next year.
Yeah.
Because the same guy that... Okay, so I know who I'm talking about, and I told this on a live stream a bit ago, but there's a guy that I know of who said, he has front office, like, connects a few around the league. And he broke the LaMarcus Aldridge wanted out thing, and, like, that they were going to part ways, like, 2-3 hours before it was ever reported. Like, he knew it and broke it on a forum that me and Eric post on, and he was right. It came out 3 hours later, and I've seen him say multiple times, Eric, basically that Stotts isn't going to be back next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this come out. I feel like Olshey probably isn't too happy right now because he probably sees some of these problems and is tired of being the one blamed for them when it's not his problems. He went out and did a good job this past offseason and got Stotts the personnel, right? And now he's being blamed again when Stotts isn't getting the job done. I wouldn't be surprised if Olshey is tired of that. And if Olshey realizes, yeah, you know what, there's probably a better coach out there that could coach this team better. So I wouldn't be shocked at all. Even if we made it to the second round, I think there's a chance that Stotts is gone. If we lose in the first round, I think it's really likely Stotts is gone if we lose in the first round. So honestly, going into the playoffs, it's like, I want the team to win and go on a run and whatnot. But I don't know. I wonder if losing in the first round compared to winning the first round gives us a better chance at winning a championship with Dame. If you think about it. Because it would mean Stotts wouldn't come back. Which I think is important for us to win, And it's like, with Stotts, I don't think we're winning the championship this year. So, of course, I'm going to root for them to win the first round. But if they lose in the first round, I'm not going to be as upset as I was, when they got swept by the Pelicans or, other years. Because I feel like there will be a huge silver lining there if that happens, so to say.
Yeah, I pray that it's not because of an injury or something to one of our starters that we lose the series, and then they have that excuse and be like, oh, well, if he was not injured, I hope that doesn't come down to any of that, and they just see past all that crap this year.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we're healthy the second half of the season because we have a hard schedule. I mean, record might not be that good even if we're healthy with how we play and the teams we're going to play the second half of the season.
My only problem with that is I could totally see a scenario where we do that and we're like, yes, finally, woohoo. And then we hire Brett Brown or someone like that, right? And it's the same crap we have to go through all again. And it's not I feel like we would possibly hire Becky Hammond. Honestly. Maybe.
I feel like that would be honestly, I'd be fine with that though. Because she's a pop disciple. I'm cool with any, like, pop disciple, honestly. Like, some of them might be good, some of them might be bad. I think Brett Brown was a pop disciple, too. So, I mean, wasn't he? Didn't he coach under Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that's not a good option. But, like, any new, like, coach that hasn't been a head coach before that's a pop disciple, I'm down for. Just because I think that's, like, I'll give any pop disciple a chance. Ime Udoka is one of those pop disciples that I really would love as a head coach. And I don't know, like, offensive scheme wise, but I think defensively he would probably be a good defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hold the guys accountable.
I have a feeling they go the Vanderpool route because just to keep Dame happy.
See, even that, I'd be like, okay, let's see what Vanderpool can do.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it. I just, yeah.
Because he might be a great coach, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wasn't Nick Nurse the assistant under Dwayne Casey before he got hired?
Yeah.
And they're two completely different coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it might be that way with Vanderpool, too.
Yeah.
And Vanderpool, I think, can probably coach a defense.
Yeah, I hope they bring in some strong assistants and don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing against any of our assistants. They all seem like really good guys. It's just like, what are they contributing anything to this either? Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderpool leaving and then the defense does struggle a bit more. You have to wonder if maybe there is a little correlation there. I don't think there's as much as some people, anywhere near as much as some people say. But, I mean, I'd take a chance on Vanderpool over Stotts any day.
And just for the record, this is why I always say when I'm asked that question, like, I'm not in the interviews, but this is how I would interview. So I would ask Vanderpool specifically what he liked about Coach Stotts and what he would change. And if I like his answers, if he's like, oh, the offense is great, I wouldn't change anything there. Like, I would just, all my changes would be defense or whatever. Like, he might not say that, but, like, if he had an answer along those lines, I would be like, no thanks. But, like, if he was like, look, I wanted to implement this back in 2018 and Stotts wouldn't do this, and we would have, I think we would have been better prepared to win a championship if we did this, and this. And I was not happy. This is one of the reasons why I left, is because I thought we would be better off if we implemented some of these things that I would like to do now. And so if he said stuff like that, then I would be a little happier or like more content with him being the coach. But not being in those interviews is hard to know until you actually see him coach on the team.
Yep. Rip City every day says, let's see if this news lit a fire under Stotts and prompts him to be a better coach defensively for the remaining half of the season. That's not going to happen. I don't think he knows how to. He's been on the hot seat so far this year and has not coached defense properly. You know, this team is still playing terrible defense. So I wouldn't count on anything getting him to improve.
And it's funny because in the Quick article today, he mentions, they changed their defensive schemes this year. No, they didn't. And he also mentions that basically Stotts is just hoping that it magically fixes himself. They're not doing anything different. They're just saying, okay, guys, we need to be better on defense. We need to be better. Oh, when we get Nurk back, we'll be better. Like, they're not doing it. They're not saying, oh, we need to try a different scheme or we need to implement this now so by the playoffs we're better. They're just saying we need to be better, like, right now. And they're not really...
There's so many people saying they've changed defensively, and it's like, what are you watching? What are you watching? I wish there was a stat that you could, like, have a percentage of which, like, how much of each scheme a team defense runs. That would be such a nice stat to have. That would be so interesting, you know? But it takes somebody watching, like, paying attention every possession. But, yeah, I mean, I still see just a ton of drop scheme. And when we do trap, a lot of times it seems like the guys have no idea what they're doing. And it's not because they're incapable. It's because they don't do it enough or aren't coached properly on it. You know, that's not that's not Stotts' basic scheme. Okay? His basic scheme is dropping, right? He's not comfortable with trapping and hedging and whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if he just has absolutely no idea how to properly coach that. Just get him out of here then.
And what... The common theme when a team traps Dame and it's really effective and completely takes him out of the game, is it kind of like, oh, let's just dilly daddle out to the trap, and let's like kind of soft hedge or just like kind of go out there, kind of stay like you're dropping, but maybe not. No, it's like when they forcibly trap hard and like get him to pick up his dribble or get him to like have to dribble back towards half court, like that play you posted tonight where we're setting a double pick at half court. Um, it, it's got to be more aggressive, and you cannot be a good defense if you are not aggressive in those trapping situations. If you play traps like you're dropping and playing conservative defense still, it's never going to improve because you can trap all day, but if you give up enough space for someone to slide in between there, or if you give up enough space for him to easily pass out of it, it's just going to put the rest of your defense in a bad position. So until they at least try to make the defense force themselves to get out of whatever they like doing and make them uncomfortable, it's not going to change.
Yep. Let's talk about Aldridge and Aaron Gordon before we wrap this up, maybe 10 minutes on this. So Blazers are reportedly interested in Aaron Gordon. I don't want Aaron Gordon on the team with Terry Stotts as the coach, okay? With a good coach, I'm down to have Aaron Gordon on. I don't know. I'm like okay-ish with it. I've never really liked his game. I think he's overrated wildly by Blazers media. I would kind of be down to have him just to hear them like do a 180 on him and then blame him as part of the personnel issue. Because they would probably do that, even though that's like their golden idea, right? Also, how are we trading for Aaron Gordon if we don't trade Derrick Jones Jr.? I don't think it's possible because we'd have to go in the tax. We'd have to trade like... Yeah, no, I just don't think it's possible. Maybe Canner, Collins, and Hood. And then maybe sign Aldridge off the buyout market to replace Canner. I don't know. We'll talk about Aldridge in a second. It's just like trade package-wise, it's hard to figure out something that works. And I don't want to trade Derrick Jones Jr. for him because Derrick Jones Jr. and him, I feel like, provide a lot of the same things. Aaron Gordon's a better playmaker. And you could maybe make the argument that he's a better three-point shooter, but Derrick Jones Jr. is shooting a higher percentage this year than Aaron Gordon has for his career. Now Aaron Gordon is shooting 36.5% this year, but he's a 32 career three-point shooter. So shooting-wise, I don't think they're all that different. Finishing-wise, Gordon is a lot worse.
Let me just say for the record, Gordon has gotten off 2 hot starts in the past shooting, and everyone's like, oh, this is the year he figured it all out, like Wiggins, too, in Minnesota several times. Like the first 20 games, he's shooting 40% from 3, and everyone's like, oh, they finally arrived. And then by the end of the year, it's back down to 32%, which means he had a huge fall off. So if you didn't like Rocco shooting 30% the first month of this season, you will not like Aaron Gordon's fall when he comes back down to his normal percentages.
He shot something like 40% over the first 20 games last year. He finished the season at 30.8% from 3. That's Aaron Gordon. So that means after that span, he's shooting like 27% for the final like 50 games of the season. That's terrible. You know what's funny with Rocco? His 3-point percentage right now is exactly what his career average is. I told you guys he would be fine shooting the ball. I told you he'd get the percentage back up there. Rocco's been shooting great. He's currently shooting 35.6% from 3. Aaron Gordon is having a phenomenal shooting season if he's shooting that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Aaron Gordon. I think on this team, his playmaking wouldn't be properly utilized, much like Evan Turner's playmaking was properly utilized because we brought him in here and his assist numbers pretty much got cut in half right away and he got stuck in the corner and was just isolating a lot. I don't want to watch Aaron Gordon playing isolation basketball or sitting in the corner shooting threes at 31%. No thank you, because that's what will happen. With Derrick Jones Jr., you look at his shot selection... We don't. That's the thing, is like people said, oh, well, Stotts hasn't had an athletic guy to run some certain sets for, right? And then we get Derrick Jones Jr. Oh, now Stotts can be creative and utilize his athleticism. How many sets do we have for Derrick Jones Jr. that utilizes his athleticism or cutting ability? 0. We don't. We run more sets for Nasir Little like once every 3 games or so that utilize his athleticism. But, bro, like more than, let's see here. Let me find this stat. 43% of Derrick Jones Jr.'s shot attempts come from the 3-point arc. 43% of them. Okay? For his career, only 32% of his shots come from the three-point arc. Okay? Now, he is shooting 33% from the three-point line, but it's like you get this guy with all this athleticism and whatnot, and almost half of his shots are coming from the three-point arc, and we don't have any sets utilizing his athletic ability. And when we had Evan Turner as a playmaker, we didn't really put him in a position to play make. We didn't have a bunch of sets for Dame off the ball or CJ off the ball. So what the hell do people think is going to happen when we bring in Aaron Gordon? Oh, he's athletic. We could run some cool sets for him. Bro, we have the last 2 dunk champions. How many cool sets do we run for them? None. So it's not going to happen for Aaron Gordon. Okay? Career 31% three-point shooter. You look at how many threes Derrick Jones Jr. is shooting. Yeah, Aaron Gordon is going to shoot probably at least 50% of his attempts are going to be threes. He's going to shoot more of them. He likes shooting threes more than Derrick Jones Jr. does. Okay? So he's going to be jacking up a bunch of threes at an inefficient clip. And he's not going to solve our defensive issues. Because Derrick Jones Jr. didn't solve our defensive issues. Robert Covington didn't solve our defensive issues. So people that think he is the answer just drive me crazy. I don't know what they're... It's just ridiculous, man. I don't know, because we've brought in players with his qualities in the past, and it hasn't changed the way we play.
Well, people are enamored with athletic wings. That's one. I tend to lean the other way, where this guy is super athletic, right? He has the body and the athleticism. If he put in work and had a good work ethic, there is no way that guy should not be like a top 20 player in the NBA, right? So that leads me to believe that he just doesn't work very hard. And that might be unfair, but I'm not taking a chance on a guy like that improving in our system where we don't do anything to improve athletic guys' ability.
Yeah.
If he was traded to Charlotte and it was him and LaMelo Ball and they decided they were going to go fast break team and they passed the ball a lot, I think that's a great fit for him. They might be able to unlock some of that hidden potential there maybe. But coming to Portland, so I had looked up these numbers a few weeks ago, and I did a lot of research on it over the offseason. But I am telling you, Evan Turner, was miles ahead as a playmaker in every analytical category for playmaking. And I asked Reese to do some research for me today, and he backs this up. Evan Turner, it's ridiculous how much better of a playmaker in Boston Evan Turner was than Aaron Gordon the last couple of years in Orlando. And so if we didn't do, and you guys all know how bad Evan Turner sucked, right? I mean, he was part of that was his contract, but he was not a good signing and not a good fit on this team. And we were all happy when we traded him for Kent Bazemore. That's how bad he was. And so, I don't understand why those same people now say it's a personnel issue. It's a personnel issue. And they want Aaron Gordon, who they don't understand. They don't equate things the way they need to be equated. Aaron Gordon is not going to improve anything. He's going to sit in the corner or he's going to get the pass on that short roll. So I'm sick of that too. We need someone in the short roll and the pick and roll. And for those that don't know, it's basically when you set a pick and roll and Dame comes across it, so they basically roll to the free throw line or the 3-point line at the top of the key, and you pass to them, and then they can make a decision to go and play. Anybody in the league can make a play in the short roll. It's so dumb. It does not take an incredible assisting playmaker to make a play in that situation. And we don't do it with the guys we do have that are super athletic or good passers or whatever. But I'm telling you...
I mean, Nurkic can make a good pass out of a short roll. Yeah. It doesn't fix the problem with the trap. Because it's still a problem when Nurkic is here.
Why are we running pick and roll? And why do we need a short roll person? Why do we continue to run the pick and roll into the trap is the problem. Not that we don't have a good short roll person to handle the trap. Dame and Nurk were for 2 years straight were the number one pick and roll threat in the league, scoring wise or whatever. And but that doesn't account for like when they get trapped in the playoffs or play good defenses. So they just were like, oh, let's keep running pick and roll because that's what we do. I've heard that from Stotts too. And they don't account for the fact that like you can't just run the same thing every time. You have to have creative plays and do things. And until that gets addressed, until we realize we cannot just run pick and roll with Nurk and Dame in the playoffs and expect to win playoff series and stuff like that, we have to play Dame off the ball a little bit and get a more creative set to do that. Until we do that, it does not matter if we have the 5 best passers in the league if we continue to run Dame right into the trap.
Yep, go watch this clip, okay? And tell me how Aaron Gordon changes what happens in this clip that I just posted in the comment section. Go watch that. Tell me how Aaron Gordon is going to change that. Tell me how that is a problem with who we have at the 4. Okay? Just stuff like that, Aaron Gordon is not going to fix. So he's not efficient. Like, the thing is, he's not a good finisher. Derrick Jones Jr. is a good finisher, right? So honestly, like, sure, Aaron Gordon averages more assists per game, but I like Derrick Jones Jr. just as much on the short roll because he's more of a threat to get to the rim and finish than Aaron Gordon is, right? So defenses have to rotate over to him more than they do Aaron Gordon. You look at Aaron Gordon right now, he's shooting 46% inside the arc, Eric. Not good. That's the equivalent of shooting like 31% from 3, which coincidentally is about what he shoots for his career.
And if we're just taking the short roll into account, you have to have a guy who can hit that shot to like that's the whole point. Like if you can't shoot that shot from like 15 to 20 feet, like just inside the 3-point line, and Gordon's percentages are terrible from
16 feet to 3, he's shooting 28.6%.
28% on those, right?
For his career, he's shooting 29%. Last year, he shot 16% from that range.
What did I tell you earlier in the stream that I saw? Are you telling me you would rather have Aaron Gordon shooting 28% from there than give Carmelo Anthony wide open shots from there? That's basically what the personnel people are telling you, that they'd rather have Aaron Gordon in that spot shooting 15-foot to 20-foot jumpers than Carmelo Anthony, who just passed someone to 11th place of all time. And then just because he can maybe pass a little bit and might do an occasional cool dunk that Carmelo doesn't do. Like, that's just complete crap.
Yep. Efficiency-wise, Aaron Gordon isn't really better than Evan Turner. Remember how like inefficient Evan Turner was, right? Here was his true shooting percentage, which is the best gauge for efficiency in my opinion. Here was Evan Turner's true shooting percentage his 3 years in Portland. 49%, 52%, 50.5%, right? Aaron Gordon's true shooting percentage the last 3 years, and that includes this year where he's shooting 36.5% from 3, which is far better than he shot for his career. Here's his true shooting percentage the last 3 years for Aaron Gordon. It's 53.8%, 51.6%, 52.6%. Okay? And that's for a guy who plays at the 4, which, you know, that player should be a little bit more efficient because they, you know, normally get easier buckets inside than, you know, a 2/3, a wing, right? So efficiency-wise, they're pretty equal to me. They're both, Evan Turner and Aaron Gordon are both inefficient. They both struggle to shoot the 3-point shot. Aaron Gordon, for a 4, is a bad finisher, okay? And like all the things that, all the positives that Aaron Gordon would provide wouldn't really get used in this offense. And we've seen it because other players that can do some similar things, it's not used in this offense. So everybody who wants Aaron Gordon just drives me crazy because they're not thinking things through. And it's easy to just sit here and say, personnel is the problem. This guy who we'll probably never get is the answer. We screw O'Shea because he won't go out and get him. That's so easy to do. And it's so ridiculous to me.
And here's the other problem, too, is, real quick, what's up, Damani? Damani's in here.
Damani's in here. What's up, Damani?
Yep. I agree that we could utilize Nurk running the offense out of the high post when he comes back. Hopefully we do that, especially, like Tori mentioned, we have the last 2 dunk contest champions. Some action with those guys getting back screens or cuts towards the rim with Nurk with the ball up top. I will take that offense all day. And then, if we do that enough, then it's going to be harder and harder to trap Dame, and then he will get easier looks too. But what do we know, right, Damani? Like, Stotts is an NBA coach, and we're nothing. So, anyways, the main problem I have with Aaron Gordon though is we can't easily get him without giving up one of our young guys or rotational pieces. And even if we did, so the rumor that I'm now assuming is correct based on the fact that we're still interested in Aaron Gordon. Like this is multiple people have said it. I just think there's too much there to ignore that Olshey is somehow wanting this guy. But the rumor is that we went to Orlando and offered them a similar package or the same package that we offered Houston for Rocco. And we basically were just like, one of you two teams, take it. So we're talking Orlando turned down Ariza, and it would have had to have included someone else, so one of our young guys, so like Simons or Little or someone else. So they turned down Ariza, Simons, or Little, and 2 first-round picks for Aaron Gordon back.
The fact that we offered that is disgusting.
It is disgusting, but like, do you think a couple months later they're just going to be like, oh, you know what? We'll take him for Hood and Cantor or whatever. like why would they want Cantor? They have Vucevic and Mo Bamba, players like that. They're not going to want Cantor. They're not going to want Hood. They're like obviously not going anywhere this season. So like we're going to have to give up multiple picks in that scenario, or like multiple guys between like Trent, Simons, all these guys. Like you're crazy if you want to give up a bunch of young guys and picks and salary filler and completely ruin our rotation just to get Aaron Gordon in here and ruin our future. I just don't. I don't get it. And
yeah,
I guess we could go under the tax, but honestly, it sucks because Zach is hurt, and I say the same thing about John Collins too that I'll say about this Aaron Gordon situation. If Zach is healthy, I would take him over those 3. And I know that sounds crazy, but for this particular team in this particular system, I believe a healthy Zach Collins fits better than either of those 2 players. I'm not saying he's a better player than either of those 2, but what we would need that particular position and player to do, I believe Zach is the best at doing those things. And so I don't want to give him up as a throw-in as a salary for a guy who, if Zach gets healthy and plays at some point in his career, that is better than the guy we're trading him for, and we had to give up other assets to do it. It's just crazy to me. And I know like a lot of you won't agree with me on my Zach take, but and he may never get healthy, and then that's something we can't control, and that's probably a more likely outcome that he's just injury prone and won't ever do anything. But like I don't think I would take that risk on top of everything else we'd have to give up to get him.
Did you say over John Collins?
Well, I was just saying those.
It was Aaron Gordon and who?
Aaron Gordon and John Collins. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the Aaron Gordon one. I don't agree with the John Collins one, but I'm a little higher on John Collins than you. But overall, the premise of it, I agree with. Yeah, but, I mean, overall, Aaron Gordon is not going to solve our issues. He's not a guy we should be interested in. He's overrated, vastly overrated, and vastly overvalued by Orlando, considering what it'd take to get him. I wouldn't be surprised if that is a fake rumor. We were interested in Drummond earlier this year, so you have to take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Given the fact that they, if we did offer that package and they turned it down, I highly doubt Portland would have interest in Aaron Gordon, considering what it cost, and like the fact that Stotts hasn't used Derrick Jones Jr. well. Like we went out and got, I think we needed an athletic wing defender, so we're offering that for Aaron Gordon. Instead, we went out and signed Derrick Jones Jr. It's not like he's fixed our problems or Stotts has utilized his athleticism. We don't have like our first round picks. It's going to be very hard to trade 1, let alone 2. It would likely put us into the tax. Like, it's just, I don't think we're trading for Aaron Gordon. I am tired of Aaron Gordon speculation. Let's talk about Aldridge a little bit, so we can end this. I also am just I am worried that if we I don't think we're going to be able to trade for Aldridge, and I don't think we will. I think there's a good chance he gets bought out. Okay, if he gets bought out, I feel like we're probably the front runner. Okay. Phoenix fans want him, and he was rumored to be interested in Phoenix and willing to go to Phoenix over us, years ago. And honestly, they need a backup big, and I think he could maybe play a little bit next to Ayton because Ayton could guard the 4 and Aldridge at the 5 can guard the 5 and he can space, and Ayton could play inside. So, it might be a good pickup for Phoenix because he would be their backup 5 and then could play next to Ayton. For us, I am worried that if we sign Aldridge off the buyout market, we're going to play him at the 4 somehow.
Yep.
LaMarcus Aldridge at the 4 will make us the worst defense in history, not the 3rd worst. I am worried that we're going to sign Aldridge and then we bench both Hood and Nasir Little, and our bench is CJ McCollum, Gary Trent Jr., Carmelo Anthony at the 3, LaMarcus Aldridge at the 4, Enes Kanter at the 5. That would be so disgustingly terrible defensively that I don't want him back. For that. I'm down for him to be the backup center over Enes Kanter because I think he's a little better defensively than Enes Kanter, and offensively I think they're pretty even in my eyes. So I'm fine with him as the backup center. If, we think we could get him off the buyout market, I would entertain, seeing what Rodney Hood and Enes Kanter can get us on the trade market. That's $15 million, and maybe just seeing what's out there, okay? But that's the only way I want LaMarcus Aldridge back is if he becomes the backup center behind Nurkic. Because that guy at the 4 would be terrible. Because he already was, he was a 4 back in 2010. In 2020... if he was still in his prime, I would still be kind of he's probably more of a 5. Just with the way the NBA has gone, it's gotten more skilled, more perimeter-based. So, he, in his prime, he would have been more of a 5 in today's game. He is now especially a 5, considering he's, 36 years old? Doesn't have the same foot speed as he used to. That guy would be disgusting to watch guard a guy like a Kyle Kuzma. And we all know all the jokes about Kyle Kuzma and how overrated, some people make him out to be and how he's, really not that good. He would run circles around LaMarcus Aldridge. And then if you have Enes Kanter at the rim behind that, yeah, no. And then Melo as well, no. No, please don't. I would not want Aldridge back at the 4. Not at all.
I believe Enes is the better option at this point. We've seen now, so Aldridge was a problem when he was here in terms of being super sensitive and the whole organization having to basically walk on eggshells to not make him mad or do anything that could possibly seen as a slight. We saw early on when him and Roy got drafted or something, the team all left to go out to dinner and they somehow Aldridge didn't get invited, and he held a grudge for a year against Brandon Roy because of it. And
I don't think he'd come back the same way though.
No, but just listen, okay. But okay, so maybe he's changed, right? Maybe he's changed. But he gets to San Antonio, right? What happens this first offseason? He tells Pop he wants out, and it's actually Pop calms him down by saying, I'll curtail my things to you or whatever, and tries to get him to say, I'll try to do this for you or whatever, and gets Aldridge to kind of come back to the team and be better or whatever. And now fast forward a few years later, and this guy's still unhappy, and he's still not he doesn't want to play for a team that's in the middle of a playoff race. He's unhappy with his role or whatever when there's younger players playing better than him. This guy still thinks he's an all-NBA forward, and I don't believe he's going to come in and be like, oh, you know what? I'm so happy Portland gave me another chance. I'll just sit back in my role coming off the bench and be cool with that, and I'll just do what I can to help this team. He's going to be like, no, I want to be the starting power forward, move Rocco somewhere else, do something. I'm back, and this Dame and me are going to win a championship or whatever. And that's fine, have that attitude, but I just have a feeling that would blow up in our face. And
I mean, if that's how he's going to be, then yeah, I definitely don't want him. I mean, I don't know. It's I don't know what went down with him in San Antonio, but it does give me some pause thinking about it. But I don't know, also seeing the way Melo has embraced a bench role and, coming back to a team that has a much deeper roster in San Antonio, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. It's definitely makes me worried, and that's on top of his game. That's, off the court stuff. His game, You could definitely make an argument for Canner over him. I'm not saying necessarily that like he's any better than Canner at this point. I think he's a little more dynamic offensively and pretty similar caliber offensively. I think he's a little better defensively at the 5 than Canner is. Rebounding wise is something that I wasn't really thinking about, but he's been a horrible rebounder in this series, getting like 4.5 rebounds per game, playing 26 minutes per game. So at the center, that's a huge drop off from Canner to him. So yeah, I mean, given all those red flags, like I don't even know if I'd want him to replace Canner. It's just like if you replaced Canner with LaMarcus and there it's like a pretty even replacement, you would be able to do more on the trade market because you would then be able to trade Canner, attach him to Hood, and that's like $15-16 million. LaMarcus Aldridge would be signed for a minimum, so you wouldn't, you could replace Canner basically for a guy making the minimum and then use his salary and possibly, they want to stay under the tax. So it'd give them some options around the trade deadline. That's the one thing that signing LaMarcus Aldridge off the buyout market would do, is give Portland some more flexibility in what they could do at the trade deadline. That is the one reason why, like, if they signed him to replace Canner, like, I wouldn't want to sign him and then keep Canner. You know what I mean? It's him or Canner. And it's like, so if they could pull off a good trade because they replace Canner with LaMarcus, then maybe, okay, sure. But if not, then I don't really want LaMarcus for that because I don't want him playing the 4. Anybody who says he'd be fine at the 4 doesn't know what in the world they're talking about. They're either stuck in 2010 or haven't watched Aldridge since he left Portland. Anybody who says they want him at the 4 is just tripping.
Real quick, just the problem is he might not get bought out till after the trade deadline, so you don't even know if he'll sign with you or what the plan will be. I mean, you could maybe find out if he would consider us or whatever. But if San Antonio keeps him through the trade deadline just to see if they can get something for him, then how do we trade Cantor not even knowing if we got we're getting Aldridge? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm fine with trading Cantor and just being like, okay, Giles the backup center, and hopefully we can get a better replacement on the buyout market. Just with how bad our defense has been, like I know Cantor is a great rebounder and a great finisher and whatnot, but with how bad our defense is, it's like off the bench next to Melo, I don't think Cantor is a good fit. So I'd almost just be down to trade Cantor. If it's a good trade, pull the trigger on that, and then okay, well we got Giles who a little better defensively than Cantor, so better fit next to Melo. Obviously nowhere near the player, but could, if we tried to make it a point of emphasis to utilize our 5 as a playmaker, which we need to with Nurkic, you could do some of the same stuff with Giles. We haven't really seen us utilize his playmaking ability, which is one of the reasons I really liked the pickup and was really high on Giles. And then, if something comes available on the buyout market center-wise that is better than Giles, then you could go pick him up. You know what I mean? I would still shop Cantor around the deadline with that in mind. I would shop him in Hood.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind that Strider points out is that Melo had that year plus off before, like he got kind of humbled by that. Whereas Aldridge, I don't think has had that quite experience yet.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying to get Aldridge.
Yeah.
Just there's probably going to be another center on the buyout market that would be like a defensive guy that would be a good fit next to Melo.
And then the other thing I'll say is I've seen several post-game interviews with Cantor where he doesn't even want to talk about himself. He's mentioned CJ Ellaby, he's mentioned, Trent, or like all these young guys playing well. He's mentioned numerous times that he can't wait for Nurk to get back so they can have a two-headed monster there, and he doesn't mind coming off the bench. All this stuff, like he's recognized that Nurk's the starter. And for all of Cantor's BS that he does when he switches teams and says all these things bad about his old franchise or good about his new franchise or whatever, that guy is a great locker room guy, and I just don't believe Aldridge would say anything other than me type stuff, and
yeah,
and I just don't think that's right for this team right now.
Like, yeah, it's all cool and everything, but it's like we have a great culture. Yet the way this organization seems to think and some of the players seem to think is just absolutely broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how what is this great culture getting us? I mean, this team does not think like a true contender, and it seems like a lot of players don't think like a true contender, and it's all, let's make the playoffs and then see what we can do, and we're all friends, and at the end of the day, so everything's fine if we lose. It's not the mindset of a true contender. I mean, you just listen to Dame on the post-game interview that we watched during the stream last night. I mean, yikes. It's not, this type of stuff you want to hear from a team that wants to contend. So, in regards to, like, that whole point, I would have cared more about that like 2 years ago than I do now. I'm kind of at the point where it's just like, man, this culture, like, I think we have great guys in the locker room, and that I think is important, but we it's almost like we need an asshole. The thing is, LaMarcus Aldridge wouldn't be like the right kind.
Yeah.
So to say, it's almost like we need a Draymond Green type of personality in our locker room, or a Chris Paul. I had a dream last night that we traded for Chris Paul, and I was like, good, he will get on these guys defensively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, because I think we talked about it on the stream last night. Like I said, I'd rather have Chris Paul than DeMar DeRozan or something. Just Chris Paul as a third guard. It's almost like we need, an asshole. So the whole like culture thing, I'm not as high on. Oh, we just, he's a great guy. It's like, okay, cool. I'd rather have a great guy than somebody like Aldridge, but I don't really care that much.
That's why I'm kind of high on Zach still, is because I feel like on the court, at least, he is kind of like that.
He doesn't have
he's too young.
He needs to be a veteran.
He can't talk like crap to Dave or whatever and tell him he's doing a horrible job.
I'm not saying we need Draymond Green in terms of like, I think skill set wise, I'm not as high on him. Especially under Stotts. I would not want his game in here under Stotts. I'm talking about his personality, believe it or not. Like, we need somebody that'll get on guys and hold them to a higher standard than we hold ourselves. And that's not happening unless we get a new coach, or maybe we bring in a Draymond Green type personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this one of the things that makes Draymond so good, though, is he tells people where they need to be on defense. Like, he tells people what the plays are going to be and stuff like that. And so you need a guy like that who's also super smart when it comes to basketball IQ. And that's why Aaron Gordon will never be the answer as long as Stotts is our coach, because that guy is not a smart basketball player. He does dumb things, and he's not going to transform your defense into this big communicating, always knowing where to be type of thing. Like, yeah, he might make some plays defensively that other players can't play, but he's not going to just be the floor general that we need on defense. So I agree that we need a Draymond Green type player. It's just like, I mean, there's not necessarily a player out there that's available. I mean, I guess you could say PJ Tucker, but at this point he's kind of washed, and I don't think that's the kind of guy they go for. And I don't know if defensively he's not on the same level, obviously, but
here's the thing, though. It's like, if we got Draymond and, we start playing better defense, if you're like, see, Stotts just needed better personnel. But it's almost like we're sitting here talking about we need a really smart defender in part to make up for our lack of a coach. You know what I mean? Like, we need somebody that'll hold guys to a higher standard than we hold ourselves. We need guys that are super smart defensively, where they can tell players where they need to be in certain situations. Things that, the coaching staff... should be helping us do at a much higher level. You know what I mean? It's almost like we need a player to make up for our coach and the way we think of ourselves as an organization. Mm-hmm. And that's just sad, because that shouldn't be the case. Yep. It shouldn't be the case, especially when you have a guy as talented as Dame. You should be holding yourself to a contender standard, no matter what the rest of the roster is. Yeah. And you might not be contenders, but if you hold yourself to that standard, you're going to give yourself the best chance. But I don't feel like they hold themselves to that standard. It's not a big deal that we just lost to the worst team in the league, missing their second and third best players. It's hard to beat a team twice in a row, despite the fact that in the playoffs you have to play a team up to 7 times in a row and beat them 4 times. Right? Hard to beat a team twice in a row, even if it's the worst team in the league. They're not just going to lay over and not try, and fans need to understand that. We love our fans, but we're the ones who play the game. That type of crap. No. Listen to Kawhi after they lost to the Pelicans last night. He said they needed to be more consistent, and he was concerned with their inconsistency, because to contend, they need to be more consistent than they are right now. Right? He's thinking of themselves in terms of contender. He's been there, done that, won 2 championships, so he knows. Mm-hmm. The problem is, I think championship experience is overrated. I don't think you need to have been to a finals to hold yourself to a high enough standard to contend. But we're not holding ourselves to a high enough standard. And getting Aaron Gordon is not going to change that. Getting LaMarcus Aldridge is not going to change that. I just, I don't know. I don't even really care about like who we pick up, because I think this team is going to be best if it fixes problems internally, right? I don't think there's any pickup out there that we could realistically go get that would take us to contention without a change in the way we think of ourselves.
Nope, I agree. To Earl, what's your Twitter handle? Are you Trailblazer? Or are you someone else? Someone's telling me to check my...
Yeah, let Eric know. We're going to wrap up the stream. This has been a very long Blazers Are Press live stream. Got some things to go do. So we will be live again on... we'll be live again tomorrow. With the post-game show after this Pelicans game. Hopefully we can take care of business. We'll see. They just blew out the Clippers and beat them by 20. Then on Thursday, we'll have Blazers Are Press live before the second Pelicans game, and we get to see ourselves, if we win tomorrow, we got to lose on Thursday because you can't beat the same team twice in a row. You guys know how it goes. I mean, that's straight from the mouth of Damian Lillard. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Feel free to join my bracket pool. I'll retweet that or DM me for the link. The bracket pool has a $20 buy-in just to make it fun. Pay $20 to care about the games. That's worth it for me, and then you get to win money on top of that if your bracket's good. So yeah, if you want to join that, hit me up or just scroll back on my Twitter. I retweeted the link earlier today. Thursday, I don't know, I'm kind of down to preview a little March Madness for like a good 20 minutes on Thursday on Blazers Are Press Live if you want to. I don't know, that could be fun. Just quickly go through and talk about it a little bit. I'm excited for that, especially after missing last year. It's been 2 years since we've had March Madness, so I'm super excited for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think we have a post-game stream on Friday. I'm gonna watch the game, but I'm gonna be more into the college basketball action on Friday. Mm-hmm. And then my Gonzaga plays Saturday, and we don't have a game Saturday, so I'm glad they don't play out at the same time because nice. I'll be watching Gonzaga over the Blazers. So anyway, yeah, that wraps up the stream. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. We're very close to 1,000. We're struggling to get there. I know we had a bunch of people on the stream for Blazers Uprise live stream. We have 100 people right now, so that's pretty good mark for us over here on the second channel. Make sure you subscribe to it so we can reach 1,000 and so you don't miss future episodes of Blazers Uprise live. Chiefin, you're an hour and 52 minutes late, bro. But thank you for joining. Thank you to everybody who joined today. Catch us over on Twitter at Tori Jones YT for me, at Hoopshock for Eric, at Blazers Surprise YT for the channel. If you guys haven't already followed us, or I know some of you probably don't have a Twitter. I don't know, but definitely catch us over there. Other than that, that's pretty much a wrap. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to plug, so we will catch you guys later. Hope you have a good rest of your Monday. We'll see you tomorrow night. As always, peace out.